Director of Technology for Maury County Schools.
And I'm Adrian Ellis, the Instructional Technology Specialist for Maury County Schools.
As part of our continuing effort to integrate 21st century technology into the classroom, Maury County Schools will provide a Chromebook for each student enrolled.
What this means is kindergarten students will have a touchscreen Chromebook, so they can also touch the screen as well as type. Grades 1 through 12 will have a Chromebook and a charger. In those grades, K through 5, the elementary grades, they'll be able to bring those devices home if we are hybrid or distance learning or at the teacher discretion. In grades 6 through 12, all students will be able to bring their devices home and will stay with them throughout the year. So they'll have a device and a charger with them.
Over the summer, we upgraded our infrastructure, including adding wireless access points to the parking lots of each school. There will be a map of coverage located at the front of each building. In case of distance learning, we have wireless hotspots installed on buses that will be placed throughout the community. There will be a list of these locations posted on our website.
Along with Chromebooks, all students will have access to a G Suite account. This G Suite account includes a Google email, Google Drive, Google Docs, and many more apps that are provided by Google. They will use this email to log into their device. We also have a technology handbook that you'll sign during registration. This handbook goes over the maintenance, the care, and the use of their Chromebook, as well as their G Suite account. It also goes over details of our internet and our filtering and how we're keeping your students safe on the internet. We will also be providing Chromebook insurance this year. The details will be on the website. We have created a digital learning site with tech support for parents that will have tips, tricks, and videos to help you navigate these new devices with your students.
Everything we've talked about will be on our website under the Technology Department. If you have any technology concerns, please don't hesitate to reach out to us.
My name is Amanda Ridley. I'm the Director of School Nutrition in Maury County Schools. On behalf of the Maury County Schools Nutrition Program and all the lunch ladies, we are pleased and excited to feed all of our students through whatever means necessary this upcoming school year. In March, the school lunchroom took on the task of feeding students as they transition to distance learning. We are pleased to say that we have fed over 303,000 meals to the students in Maury County. Our school nutrition staff has always maintained high standards for safe food handling practices, including cleaning, disinfecting, and sanitizing. We continually provide professional development for our staff, including ServSafe certifications for employees, and maintain A's on all health inspection scores. Since March, we have been working through the latest health department and food safety guidelines to ensure the health and safety of our students and nutrition team members. We are modifying kitchens, enhancing cleaning and sanitizing schedules, requiring face coverings for all school nutrition employees, and commit to offer safe meal choices to students. As you prepare to bring your student back to school, you can be assured your school nutrition professionals are ready to provide the safest and healthiest meals to your child. Under the traditional face-to-face model, meal service for Maury County Schools will look very similar to last year with several enhanced safety measures. Hand sanitizer will be provided in all serving lines. Social distancing will be practiced in the serving lines and in the cafeteria according to the Department of Public Health and the CDC recommendations and guidelines. To practice social distancing, classes may eat in staggered time slots, and some classes may eat their meals in alternate locations, such as the classroom. Menu choices will be streamlined to simplify serving and transport. Foods will be served by food service staff or will be placed in individual containers to prevent sharing of utensils. Individually wrapped utensils will be used. Plexiglass or the use of face shields will be at the cashier stand. The cashier will enter each student number rather than the use of pen pads. Free online payments are strongly encouraged, and the sanitizing of the cafeteria tables and serving lines will be done between classes or meal periods. Under the hybrid model, meals will still be available to all students every day, whether they are in school or face-to-face instruction or at home on their distance learning days. Parents or guardians will have the opportunity to pre-order meals for their student to carry home for distance learning days when they are not in the building. These meals will consist of shelf-stable and frozen meals that can be reheated and eaten the following day. These meals must be pre-ordered using the website My Payments Plus. Many of you have already used this website to pay on account balances and monitor meal purchases. Registration is easy and free. The link is on the Murray County website under the Parents tab. Pre-ordered meals will also be prepaid on this website for those students who do not qualify for free meals. To qualify for free and reduced meals, it is required to complete a free and reduced price meal application each school year. We encourage you to go ahead and start now. The application can be located in several places. You can access and complete the application completely online, touch-free, using your smartphone or computer from the Murray County Schools website under the Parent tab and on the Murray County Schools app under Links. The application will also be part of your online enrollment documents. School menus will be posted, and you can find those and all the latest information related to school meals on the Murray County website under School Nutrition or on our downloadable app called NutriSlice. As always, it is very important to keep your student meal accounts up to date. Touch-free online payments can be made free of charge on any account balance on the app www.mypaymentsplus.com. You can find that also on the website and register. All you need to register is your student's 5-digit student number, commonly referred to as their lunch number. For the distance learning models, meals will still be available to all students through a curbside grab-and-go process similar to the process we have used since March. We are working to add sites and later pickup times, as well as adding more delivery methods to reach more students. Each school's nutrition team will be responsible for producing its own breakfast and lunch meals for distribution. Pickup sites, days, and times will be posted on all social media and the school website. Breakfast and lunch meals will be packed simultaneously. Currently, there are no national waivers to serve these meals free of charge, as we did March through May. Payments will be required for those students who do not qualify for free meals. Again, please go ahead and complete your online free and reduced meal application now and register your child for the online payment system and pre-order form. School meals will be offered to all students, and we encourage you to participate. Though things may look a little bit different, we want our students and parents to feel safe and trust the food they eat is safe, healthy, and delicious. We look forward to serving your child in the coming school year, supporting your child's academic success. Murray County School Nutrition invites you to stay connected with our school nutrition program by subscribing to the Murray County Schools app, as well as the NutriSlice app, and following us on Instagram at Murray_nutrition.
Hey everybody, my name is Mike Pritchett. I'm the Director of Transportation for Murray County School Systems, and I wanted to go over the transportation sections in our guide to returning to school. I'm going to start with the section with traditional return, and in the transportation department, what we're going to have is all of our drivers will be wearing a mask on the bus, and they'll be doing temperature checks on themselves prior to each morning route before starting to pick up children. Murray County guidelines and teacher drivers will have their temperatures checked when they enter the school building because they're certified staff. And our teacher drivers will actually be counted just like faculty members in their school. So once they get to school, they'll have to log their temperatures before they start their school day. Students are going to be encouraged to wear masks while they're on the bus. And that guidance came from our local health department when we had Dr. Taylor come by and speak with us in our planning meetings. He suggested because our bus routes are, 30 to 45 minutes long, some are a little longer than that, because the bus is a confined area, that his suggestion would be encourage our students to wear masks because it's going to be a closed quarters for more than 15 minutes. So our suggestion to you guys as parents and community members is to encourage your students to come to the school bus prepared for a mask to be worn. It's not required. They don't have to, but I would love to see all of our students wearing masks on the bus while they're being transported to and from school. Transportation will train a team to clean our buses to ensure the consistency of the bus cleaning. Some of our drivers are going to be shown exactly how they need to be spraying and wiping down our buses in between routes. So when I come to pick up your students in the morning, they're going to be entering a clean bus. After that route's over, then I'm going to clean those buses again. And then when I come pick your child up at school to bring them home, they're going to be entering a clean bus. And then when they get dropped off in the afternoons, I will then re-clean the buses again after our afternoon route so that they will be clean the next morning when I come by your house to pick your students up. But I have to train those drivers to do that so that we're getting a consistency style of cleaning every day that we clean buses. No buses will be allowed to be driven home unless approved by the transportation director. And I put that section in there about being allowed to drive their bus home because I do have drivers who live in some of our extreme corners of our county, and to ask them to finish their route and then drive all the way back into town and then drive themselves back to work, then both that extends their workday, but it also leads to fuel consumption problems for us in our operating budgets. And I will make some exceptions to those drivers that live on the extreme corners of our county that drive towards their home to empty their school buses. And they'll be cleaning their buses at home once they get home, before they start their routes and after they finish their routes. Hand sanitizer is going to be provided on the buses. So when your child enters the buses, we're going to have hand sanitizer available for them to squirt into their hands, wipe it down, and be clean while they're on the bus. And certainly if they want to squirt hand sanitizer in their hand as they leave the bus before they enter in the school building, they're more than welcome and probably encouraged to do that as well. But we will have sanitizer on our buses that we'll be providing for our students. In this model, in the traditional return, social distancing is not going to be possible for this model. Our buses are just too crowded. We have the ability to allow windows to be down and roof hatches to be up to help with the ventilation process on the bus. That will keep the air stirring around on the bus, but due to the fact that you're in a closed-in environment there, I cannot guarantee that social distancing would be possible. So that is why I want my drivers in mask, and I'd love to see my students in mask. If you guys would encourage your students to wear them or provide them for your student to wear them on the bus, they can certainly take it off once they get to school, and in the appropriate environment, they wouldn't have to wear it all day long. But just to try to encourage safety on our school buses, we would love to see everyone wearing a mask on the bus route. Like I said before, I can ventilate. I just can't promise everyone that social distancing is going to be possible on school buses under traditional return, which would be everybody's coming back to school. In the hybrid way that we would open school up or transition to a hybrid model, which is your A-B schedule, where we have half of our students coming on a Monday, half of them coming on a Tuesday. What that does for us is it allows us the opportunity to provide a little more social distancing, because we're going to have half of the capacity of a bus route. Nothing's going to change on those bus routes. We will run the exact same bus route, only picking up the students that would be available to come to school that particular day. So it would be very important for you to make sure that you guys are at the bus stop for our hybrid pickups, because I don't want to leave anybody behind. So if you're running behind, my drivers probably aren't going to know for a while until we figure out, all right, who would be on an A-B schedule, who would be an A student versus a B student. It may take us a while for our drivers to become accustomed to those particular bus stops. But if you're not there and my bus passes you up, most likely chance is that I wouldn't have enough time to turn around and come back and get you if I miss you. So be patient with us as we would try to be figuring a lot of the hybrid model out with the bus routes. So if you miss the bus, don't call and ask the bus driver to turn around, because I most likely probably won't, because of the length of the routes in general. But if you miss, just try to catch a ride with a neighbor or provide transportation for your student into school that day, and then you're most welcome to ride the bus back home that afternoon. And hopefully we'll get all those resolved as time goes. In this hybrid model, my drivers are still going to be wearing masks. They'll still be doing self-checks with their temperatures and monitoring their symptoms for anything. And I tell you this now, and I should have said this on the traditional model, if my driver has a temperature of 100.4 or higher, if they have any new symptoms of cough or anything like that, they are not to be driving the bus that day. They're going to call us in and make sure that we know that they need a sub driver for that day. We'll do our best to make sure that those routes are covered on a timely fashion. But I just want you to know that our self-monitoring is for, I don't want to put a bus driver out there that could potentially be sick and cause the sharing of germs on the bus from a driver standpoint. So my teacher drivers will still be the same thing. They'll be wearing a mask, and they'll also be doing their self-checks with the temperature once they enter in the school building, because that was going to be required for all of our teachers as they enter the building for their work day, that they'll be checked for temperatures at the school level. Students will still be encouraged to wear the mask, even though I know that we'll have a little spare room on there because of having half the capacities on the bus. We'll be able to spread the kids out a little bit more. Transportation team will still be doing the cleanings in between morning routes and after afternoon routes. So the buses will still be cleaned in the same fashion that they would have been in the traditional model. No buses are still going to be driven home during this model, except for those a few drivers that have the extreme routes at the end of the county lines that need it for both time and budgetary monies that they would encounter with extra driving back and forth to town with those buses. So we don't want to put those undue situations for our drivers. So those extreme drivers will still be allowed to drive home and clean their buses once they finish their routes there. Hand sanitizer is still going to be on the bus. Students will have that available in the mornings when they get on the bus, after they get off the bus at school. In the afternoons, we'll still have the hand sanitizer on the buses. Social distancing is not necessarily possible for this, but it will be more likely that your students can social distance a little bit more on the bus in this model, because of the fact that we will only have half the capacity of the students riding the buses those days. Ventilation on the bus is still possible. We will have to be able to put the windows down and the roof hatch up and keep the wind circulating in there, not to have any stagnant air sitting around on the bus. Of course, that's, with weather permitting. We're not going to put the windows down on a rainy day, and we certainly wouldn't put it down once the weather turns cold and it's freezing cold outside and have it too cold on the bus for our students. We will definitely monitor those situations and have ventilation when possible, okay? The hybrid model of instruction will decrease the number of students riding the bus, that which would allow me a better opportunity to do some social distancing on the bus. But if you guys are thinking that I have an elementary route, which is on the average of about 70 kids per route, if I put 35 on there, that may still seem like a crowded bus, but it's better than 70. Our high school, middle school routes, a crowded route is probably in the neighborhood of 50 to 55 students on a bus. That's considered a pretty full route. So half of the students on that bus might be, 25 to 30 kids possibly on a particular route. And I'm sure that most students would probably enjoy the ability to spread out a little bit more on those buses. I will say this, and this will be both for the traditional and hybrid models right here. For our students, we've talked about trying to find ways to load and unload appropriately. And we're still bouncing some ideas about that around right now, about how to effectively load our buses in the morning, whether we load from back to front and then unload from front to back. But I have a lot of age discrepancies in the schools. So to say that I'm picking up a pre-K-er in the morning on a bus route, putting that pre-K-er in the back of the bus may not be appropriate. So we're still trying to figure out whether or not we're going to have younger students sent to the back to load appropriately, or if we're just going to load in a different format or fashion. But we will try to get information out to that about that a little bit later, closer to we get to school. And we've also talked about some other types of disinfecting models that we could do on the bus, as far as products that have a longer kill, that we might could pre-treat buses for a longer extended period of time with the in-between route cleanings as well. But we're talking to some vendors now about those products that have a longer kill time. And if those are come available, I'll definitely be using those because I want every added benefit to safety on our school buses from this particular virus that we're experiencing in our country right now. Now, when we go to the last option, which is our distance options, things will change because we won't be transporting kids, obviously, to school, but I will be doing some things with our buses that will help out as far as providing some technology out in the field. We have 13 buses that have hotspot mobile technology on them now. So I will be able to come out in the community and provide mobile hotspots for you guys to pull in and get closer to so that you can get internet services from the school systems through our buses. I think we'll have it on some of our schools. So if you can get to a school parking lot, you can certainly pick up Wi-Fi from the school in the parking lot or surrounding areas of a school building. But in addition to that, I will try to be getting buses out to some locations. For instance, I may park on the north end around Cisco Baptist Church for you guys that live up there on the north end. You can drive down to the church, hook up to the Wi-Fi, log on there, download your assignments into your Google Docs, finish that up, and you'd have your assignments there for you that you could either upload or download. I mean, it may be that you're at home working and then you drive into the hotspot area, log on to the Wi-Fi, and you upload all your material that way. So I'm going to do my best to try to get some of these buses with my hotspots out to you guys so that you have internet availability if you can just drive a little ways. Some of you may have perfect internet service in your home. Some of you may not, but we're going to do our part to help provide some of that for you guys this year. In the spring, we just weren't prepared, but we learned a lot during the spring as well by not having some of this availability for technology. So we're way ahead of the game this time, and we've got some things in place. Like I said, I have 13 buses equipped with that technology. We'll be publishing the locations and schedules when and where those buses are because it'll be important. We'll have to vary that out a lot because I know that some of you guys have mornings available. Some of you may have to take off work and do it during a lunch break to provide your kids an opportunity to get down there. Or it may be you have to provide it after school sometime after you get home from work and then take your kid back to get some of that. So we'll have some different locations and varied times maybe that we can provide that. But just be looking for the school buses. We might even try to find some signs on it that says free Wi-Fi or hotspots available or something to hang on the bus so that you know what those buses are doing out in the community when you see them out there. Buses will still be cleaned after each of those routes are completed by the drivers that will be coming in to service us in the community this way. The hotspot buses will be deployed throughout Maury County locations. Like I said, we'll get that schedule kind of out to you guys as soon as we possibly can. The buses will be deployed Mondays and Wednesdays. We say 11 to 1, but we may have to modify that. We'll might even get a survey out to some people and say, you know, hey, when is it more appropriate for us to offer it? 11 to 1 is what we're thinking for lunch breaks if you need to take home from work and go get your kids and get them to a location. But if we find out that there's some variable needs out there, then we can modify our schedules to fit that as well, because what we're all about is trying to provide a service for you guys in this, because this actual model, this distant learning model that we could be in would be in a situation where the schools are closed down. We can't go back to school because of something similar to what happened in March. If we get to a March 13th scenario and the governor says we're going to shut schools down, we got to close the schools down because of a COVID outbreak or something like that, then I now have the ability to bring my buses out to you guys to help provide some internet services. And that's kind of how it's going to work with transportation. I hope we all have a great start back to the school year. Our biggest concern is in safety. We want to make it as safe as possible, and we're willing to use one of these models, two of these models, all three of these models to help us dictate what's the best option for us in Maury County. We all really want to be traditional because we want you guys back in the schools with us to do this, because hands-on education is obviously the best way to do it. But if we can't do that, then either through the model of the AB schedule or this distant option, it will be most appropriate to say that it will look a lot different than it did in the spring. We're excited about all the things that we've got in place. But you guys be safe. Remember, take on your part of the responsibility. If you're helping protect your family, if you're wearing your mask, if you're doing all of these hygiene things to stay clean and all that stuff, then we reduce the chances of sharing this virus with each other. We all have family members that maybe have situations in their life where they could be a person that could have some pretty major concerns with catching this virus. Even myself, I have high blood pressure and diabetes, and I would be an underlying condition candidate, but I want to be as safe as possible being around everybody, and I want to provide safety for everybody. And that's what we're going to do in transportation, is provide all of this safety measures in place to help us learn the best way that we can, whether that's transporting everybody to school, whether that's transporting in the hybrid model with a little social distancing in place, or if it's just me bringing the hot spots out to you guys so that you can learn effectively at home. That's what we'll do. So I appreciate your time. I appreciate you listening. And if you guys got any questions, please reach out to me. My name's Mike Pritchett. I'm the Transportation Director for the school system.